Shalom. I'd like to say all praise is due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect out there, who's pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. My name is Kanawak, doing this lesson. This is in regards to the protests in Kenya. This is just a short article that I found. I'm gonna link everything with the scriptures because this is already written, through prophecy, right? Which the word prophecy means to say before. So basically, this is a big protest in Kenya. I'm gonna read it. This is off the Al Jazeera. Kenya braces for the third day of anti-government protests. It says all the details. The latest round of anti-government protests in Kenya has been scheduled after tax hikes adds to soaring cost of living, right? And this was happening right now throughout Canada, throughout America, throughout the world, all right? And basically, they're deliberately, causing the world to go bankrupt. Right, because they plan on bringing a whole new system, right? So they want to, they want to destroy and rebuild, and this is the whole plan, of these global elites. All right, I'm gonna get the scripture, 2nd Esdras 16, because I'm just gonna be flowing in the spirit. It's gonna be a short lesson, Lord's will. Very short lesson. 16 verse 70. 2nd Esdras 16 verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. All right, and basically we're approaching these times because they plan on having this whole central bank digital currency, and that they want everybody to be implemented with this whole this whole charagma, this whole CHIP. They want everybody to be down, and basically they're already doing it in China, throughout Switzerland, certain European countries. They're already doing it. People don't walk around with cash or their credit card. It's already in their flesh or facial recognition, right? So within their forehead. So I'm gonna read the word insurrection. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Basically, you won't be able to have no freedom of speech. I believe Trudeau, the House of Parliament, they passed a bill that if you saying anything that's contrary to the government's agenda, they're gonna jail you or arrest you. So it shows you that the family of the word is coming. So I'm gonna look at the word insurrection, because that's why we always, the Apostle Tahar, insurrection. Insurrection. I'm gonna look at the word. I'm gonna look at the etymology. Insurrection, rise up, right? So basically to rise up, right? And this is what's happening right now. This is off the Edom Online. Insurrection, uprising against the civil authorities, right? See what's happening in France. There's a mayor that he wasn't home, but his children and his wife was there, and they went after them. So this is what's gonna be happening throughout the world. The so-called civilians, that they're gonna be rising against the like the people that's in power. It's a Latin insurrection, insurrectio, a rising up, acting from a past particle stem of insurge, to rise up, right? Insurgent, right? Let's look at the word insurgent. Oh, that's what it is. Insurgent, one who rises up in revolt against a government or its laws. Insurgents, a participle particle of insurge, rise up, same thing, rise up high. Yeah. So we're approaching these times, and you know, they're doing this thing deliberately, you know, to have the people in that basically, like, to bow down, you know, to this whole this whole society, you know. It says Kenya opposed leader Raila Odinga has called for 3 days of anti-government protests starting on Wednesday. The latest demonstrations are against tax hikes and followed 2 previous sets of protests this year against the soaring cost of living in East Africa economy hub, and an alleged malpractice in late last year presidential election, which that Odinga lost, right? I believe this is like this guy's into the whole government, but basically he's basically like an advocate, and basically there's, you know, like the people is rising up, you know, against the, you know, these government with these whole tax, you know, and this is what they're doing, you know. So they're doing this thing like very much like this whole system is like deliberately is defalling, or if that's the word, you know, to you know, like to make people rise up against the government so they could like destroy and then rebuild, you know, like the phoenix, right? Like the bird, like the phoenix is like a bird that basically you know, like that that's basically brings fire, right? And then basically it comes back, it dies, and then it comes back, like so like basically they say like to rise up out of the ashes, right? So basically like they want to like destroy, and rebuild, you know. That's what they like they're planning on doing, you know. And there's a lot of Jakes and Ken who's mixed up amongst who's living, you know, amongst the Hamites. So I'm gonna make you play this, and this is pretty much gonna be a short lesson. So I'm gonna play this. This is for educational purposes.
Come up with answers even faster. SAS Via.
Protesters clashed with Kenyan police on Wednesday at the start of 3 days of protests that President William Ruto said would not be allowed to happen. Demonstrators, angry at high costs of living and tax hikes, hurled rocks at security forces, who responded with tear gas. 2 water cannon trucks and dozens of riot police were stationed at the entrance to Kibra neighborhood in the capital, Nairobi. Inside, tires were burned amid running street battles. The opposition Azimio la Umoja party called for the protests in part because of tax hikes enacted last month by Ruto's government. 2 previous rounds of protests earlier this month saw at least 15 people killed and hundreds arrested. Police had fired tear.
Yeah, so this is all you know, that this is gonna be happening, you know, with all these different global governments. There's gonna be people that's gonna be fighting, you know, against these so-called tax hikes or you know, the cost of living. You know, so there's gonna be a lot more protests. We're seeing what's happening in France, throughout Haiti. All right, Haiti's been catching hell, you know, because you know, like the Red Cross, which is basically it's a so-called charity event, like a so-called charity basically a charity what's the word basically like where they're so-called, they're supposed to be helping people but they're not, basically, right? And it's going back to these global elite, right? So they're not really so they don't want you to be basically, like, they want you to be at their knees, right? And you know, so people's going to be fighting, you know, against the government, you know, basically, right? So this is what's happening, you know, and this is happening globally.
Gas and, in some cases, live rounds. Ruto was elected last August on promises that he would champion the interests of the poor. But prices for basic commodities have risen. Ruto's levies on fuel and housing are needed, his government argues, to help with growing.
Yeah, and this is what's happening. You see what's happening here in Toronto. There's a lot of so-called refugees who's been living in Canada for the past couple of years, that's been sleeping on the street. All right, and it looked very bad. And now the so-called church is bringing them, you know, like to these church, and making them. If I could play, I'm gonna play after. So basically, there's a whole bunch of confusion happening, and it's all orchestrated. All right, because they don't care about your well-being, man. Especially us as Israelites, man. All right.
Debt repayments and to fund job creation initiatives. For we believe.
Yeah, like this guy. There's a lot of Hamites in Kenya, but there's Jake who's mixed up amongst them as well. There's a lot of history about that.
Strongly that every hassle matters.
A private sector lobby group has said that the protests have cost the economy more than $20 million per day. Civic leaders have warned about sporadic incidents of apparently ethnic-based violence. Churches and civil rights groups have called for Ruto and opposition party leader Raila Odinga to resolve their differences.
Yeah, so this is all orchestrated. I'm gonna put CP24 City News refugees, right? Because this thing, they have our people, or they have people sleeping on the street, and it looked very bad, man. You know.
If you're a refugee driving in to Pearson International Airport or to somewhere.
She's the new mayor now. She's the elected mayor. She's been mayor for, I guess she's got elected now. So she's been so-called to help the refugees or whatever. But it's not just the refugees. You have Jake, right, who's living on the street right now in Toronto, man. And throughout the GTA, throughout the Greater Toronto area, man. And so this is not gonna be even helping, because there's no housing, right? Like the city of Toronto, right? Like they're not building no housing for the so-called poor of our people. Like they don't care. Like they want you to be you have to be working 2-3 jobs, you know. Like you can't. It's just a whole rat race, you know. I'm gonna play this quick.
You don't know where to go. You don't know where you can find help. You don't know where the reception center might be. And you have nowhere to turn to. You may not have any friends here. You may not have any money. So what do you do? What the city of Toronto...
Yeah, and this is what they're doing. Like, I'm not even gonna really play this. I'm gonna just share this link in the description. But like, this is all this is deliberate, all right? Because they want us like to be dependent on the state, which is the government, and basically like they want you to be like dependent on them, so they could bring out like this whole CBDC system, central bank digital currency system, and like that's what it's all about. This is exactly what they're. So what's that scripture? Woe unto them that seek to hide their counsel. I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna also share this link in the description. Oh, woe unto them Isaiah 29 verse 15. Yes, Isaiah 29 verse 15. And I'm going to close. Isaiah 29 verse 15. I'm going to highlight this. Isaiah 29 verse 15. Woe unto them that seek deep. Woe unto them that seek Salakia, brothers. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? All right, and this is not just for like the Israelites. Like, this is a global council that even the 2/3, all right, that these are so-called people in the church or these Israelite leaders, all right, like they're hiding their counsel, and they're not teaching them, like they're not bringing them to the light, like because they're already into darkness, right? Like with these whole 501c3 charters, and basically which is run by like the Vatican, all right? And they have these different Jesuits like throughout the world who spy out the land, and they're like, these people, they're wicked, man. I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna look at the word woe in the in the translations. NLT, Isaiah 29 verse 15 in the NLT, the New Living Translation. What sorrow awakes those who try to hide their plans from the Lord, who do their evil deeds in the dark, right? Because even though like there's people, they talk about how they're Christians and they have so-called Cesar Borgia, the foresight as the forefront, all right, and they use that Christianity to destroy the people, all right, to have them indoctrinated with this whole false religion, right? Because the Lord, he never looked like a pale so-called white man, a leper, a clean leper. The Most High is not a clean leper, man. He's a dark-skinned man who seek to hide their deep deeds in the dark, right? With the whole like where they're talking about, oh yeah, like they're helping people, like we're gonna bring them to church, to their so-called church, or these or these different you know, like the Red Cross and Salvation Army, you know, but they're not even helping our people. It's just going to these bankers, like pockets, because they don't care, you know, because you see what's happening in Haiti, all right, and you know, it's like they don't care. Like all they want is to take the so-called resources and to take away like your corpse, right? That basically like your like basically like this whole corporation, right? Which is I believe in Latin is corpus, and they basically like to devour your flesh. So basically like they're eating away your flesh, you know. So it's a whole evil society that we live in, man. You know, and they're doing it every day through these different bills and these different articles, man. The Lord cannot see us. They say he doesn't know what is going on. Yeah, so they feel like the Lord is not watching them, but the Lord's watching them, man. Surely you're turning the things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For there it says, for shall the Lord say unto of him that hath made it, he madeth me not, or shall the thing frame say unto him that framed it, he have not understand it? Because the Lord is the one who made us. All right. Even though these so-called Masonic, you know, these Masons and these Shriners and all this stuff, like they know, like they do, like even though like they might not speak certain language, it's like they speak it like with their symbols, all right, and because this is a global, because basically it's like the Tower of Babel, right? Basically like they were always speaking one language until the Lord he confounded their language, until the Most High Yahweh, the angels confounded their language. But now even though like the Most High already confounded their language, like they're still speaking it through these different Masonic symbols and all this stuff. So this is a whole society that we live in, you know. So that's pretty much it. With that, let us say all praises due to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakodash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect out there. I'm gonna share this link in the description of what's happening here in Toronto, and then then I'm gonna share the link of the people in Kenya that's catching hell, man. You know, because this is a global takeover, man. Because they wanna like destroy you know, a lot of people, man. So this is gonna get a lot more. It's gonna get a lot more rugged, man. So with that, let's see how praise due to Yahweh, Bashim Yashai, Bashim Kakodash. Shalom.